If Buy Sweet Carole were a movie, most people would walk out humming the score and raving about the animation. As a game, the conversation gets spicier. You're buying a playable Disney-esque nightmare, yes, but you're also buying stiff movement, trial and error stealth, and a grab bag of puzzles that swing from clever to where's the hint system when you need it. So the real question is simple. Is the magic strong enough to carry the weight of the mechanics, especially at $25? Here's the setup. Little Sewing Machine, led by Remoted's Chris Darrell, builds a 2D, hand-drawn fairy tale set in and around Bunny Hall, an oppressive orphanage with big early 1900s energy. You play Lana Benton, chasing the mystery of her missing friend Carole, slipping between realities, and occasionally turning into a rabbit because folklore says rules are for people who sleep. The antagonist, Mr. Kin, looks like a children's book drawing that learned about nightmares. The protector, Mr. Basie, is the kind of enigmatic ally who shows up when themes get heavy. All of this is varnished with a lush orchestral score from Luca Balboni that knows exactly when to swell, sting, and sigh. Across reviewers, the art and music are the consensus slam dunks. The gamer calls the visuals a sight to behold and the score fantastic, while Nintendo Life highlights the beautiful, heartfelt storytelling riding on that orchestral backbone. DualShockers basically says the presentation is damn near flawless and nostalgia-soaked. The footage backs it up. This thing moves like a vintage feature film with that slightly choppy, intentional cadence that sells ink and paint illusion. If you grew up on VHS texture, your brain will start producing phantom popcorn. Where the split forms is in how that style translates to hands-on play. The gamer dings the basics. Walking feels fussy, stairs demand weirdly precise timing, inputs lock you into motions you can't cancel, and there were multiple crashes. DualShockers doubles down. Platforming is stiff, stealth inconsistent, enemy pathing goofy, and the action sections with Basie are button-mashy filler. Nintendo Life is more forgiving, noting the Switch versions perform smoothly overall, with loading seams but fluid animation, and it praises the empowering final battle without spoiling it. The score spread tells the tale. The gamer lands around a 3.5, DualShockers at 6.5, Nintendo Life at 7. That's not a pile-on, it's a pattern. Beauty and mood are elite. Control feel and encounter design can undercut them. The structure leans puzzle adventure first, platformer stealth second. Imagine classic point-and-click DNA without the point-and-click interface. You roam a sprawling manor level by level, flip a switch here to unlock a door there, read environmental breadcrumbs, and bounce between realities to reposition objects. When it works, it's gratifying in that eureka way. DualShockers even compares it to LucasArts era inventions, because solutions often feel earned, not guessed. When it doesn't, it's either because a step is under-telegraphed, behavior flags don't trigger, or the game expects precise positioning while the animation system resists your micro-adjustments. The gamer's wish for a simple hint toggle is not about dumbing things down. It's about respecting people who love the story but don't want to spend an hour reverse engineering the camera angle. Let's talk stealth and chases, because that's where the game's ambition and its animation collide. The art wants a theatrical sweep, the gameplay needs clarity. You get hide spots and breath hold sequences that evoke little nightmares, but instead of swift deaths, you've got a health bar that invites repeat attempts. That sounds generous, yet it can mask whether you're solving the space or brute forcing it. Reviewers cite enemies popping in from nowhere, line of sight ambiguity, and animations that won't break early so you can pivot. That last point is key. If an animation system is prioritized for cinematic fidelity, it's harder to make snappy, cancel-heavy controls. You feel the friction most on stairs, ladders, and tight escapes, exactly where the horror needs mechanical crispness. Narratively, it's doing more than a mere rescue tale. The backdrop of distorted gender dynamics and hints of women's emancipation gives Bunny Hall a nasty historical texture. The omniscient narrator occasionally surfaces to underline inner turmoil, which would be cloying in a lesser script, but here plays like a storybook voice guiding a child through a dark chapter. Nintendo Life calls it personal. The gamer calls it a dark, violent fairy tale with unsettling beauty reminiscent of the Black Cauldron. DualShockers adds that it balances kid-friendly horror with mature undercurrents, avoiding YA melodrama. That thematic blend is why the game sticks in people's heads even while they grumble about a puzzle softlock. Quick spoiler in 3, 2, 1. The late game power swing and the more overtly empowering final battle land for multiple reviewers, suggesting the narrative arc pays off its emotional setup. Then we're out of spoilers and back to vibes. It's worth noting the voice work is divisive. The gamer finds it flat and sometimes poorly synced to mouths, which is extra noticeable when you invoke the gold standard of classic animation. Others are less bothered, possibly because the score papers over a lot. Performance and platforms matter here. This is Unity developed by Little Sewing Machine with Mean Grip Studios, published by Maximum Entertainment, ESR BT14. Released October 9th, 2025 on PC, PlayStation, Xbox and Switch, with Nintendo Life reporting stable performance on Switch and Switch 2 handheld, especially aside from loading seams. The gamer experienced 3 crashes on a non-Switch platform and DualShockers encountered softlocks and bugs on PC. Translation: the experience can vary by platform and patch, and this is the type of game that could meaningfully improve with a few focused updates. Input buffering, cancel windows, hint toggles, and stealth readability. So what's the veteran game take? If you come for mechanics first platforming and silky stealth, this is not your happily ever after. But if you value audio-visual storytelling, mood, and that ink and orchestra high, By Sweet Carole delivers a rare, cohesive aesthetic you don't see every year. The puzzles can be genuinely satisfying, the world building is sticky, and the finale has enough punch that even critics who clocked the clunk still felt something on the way out. At $25, the calculus is simple. Are you paying for a pristine ride, or are you okay buying an art book that moves and occasionally squeaks? Here's the payoff. The game's tension is not just horror, it's the design thesis fighting itself. Animation wants sweep, interactivity wants snap. Few games solve that paradox. Ori solves it with hyper-responsive inputs. Cuphead splits the difference by keeping movement simple and selling style through combat and bosses. By Sweet Carole picks style to the hilt and tries to drag mechanics along. The result is intoxicating in a straight line and wobbly in the corners. If the team patches in a hint mode, loosens animation locks, and clarifies stealth cones, the whole experience clicks closer to the masterpiece the art already implies. If this kind of no BS deep dive is your thing, hitch a ride with Veteran Game and hit subscribe. If you're nodding or fuming because your favorite scene just got called filler, toss a like so this take survives the algorithm and we can keep doing the long form stuff studios won't pay for. Final word. By Sweet Carole is a unique flawed charmer that proves games can still channel classic animation without feeling like cosplay. It's not the cleanest play, but it is a memorable one. The debate is simple and juicy. Should a game with immaculate art and a wobbly chassis be graded on curve, or the curve should be bent to it? Drop your verdict: art pass, hard pass, or patch watch.